Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 157 of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news, as well as what we watched or played over the week. My name is Barry, the new inductee to the buzz cut of the podcast.
Welcome.
My name is Craig. I was hoping that for a new haircut from one of my co-hosts today, and I was quite happy when I logged on to the to the pre-production portion of this.
My name is also Craig. Still the same haircut. Nothing changed. I think I've had the same haircut since I was like 10. I don't think I've changed. Same height, everything.
Yeah, like you're both named Craig in it,
Yep.
so like for me, I'm Barry. I have longer hair. I just wanted to fit in a little bit more, so I just got a buzz cut.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Notes to talk about after this podcast is done. Maybe a whole podcast about haircuts where we just talk about haircuts.
My hair doesn't do anything. I have to keep it short. If it grows long, it'll just poof. It'll get like this big, and I hate it. So
look at all this content.
Oh man,
look at all this content already.
Haircuts. Barry, he's the best because he can do long, short, buzz. It doesn't matter. His hair cooperates with any length. I'm kind of jealous. Yeah, I'm jealous.
It's the Costa Rican hair. I thank my mom for it.
Okay,
there you go.
What I also thank my mom for is the video game news I get every week.
Why?
Because she gives it to me. It's hot off the press. Okay. She sends me the text message. She's like, "Hey, here's the video game news this week," and I'm like, "Thanks, mom."
Thanks Barry's mom. We appreciate you.
Couldn't do this without you. So first up, off of Barry's mom's news of video games, is Super Mario makes $1 billion, and Slash, the whole movie keeps getting posted to Twitter for whatever reason. I've seen them I've only saw the movie once, but I've now seen the movie 4 times thanks to Twitter. What a battleground Twitter's become. You can just post a whole entire movie with Twitter Blue. Who would have thought?
Yeah. You know what's wild is when I saw it, which was a couple of weeks ago now, that night when I was at home and I was scrolling through TikTok, I got a TikTok live of somebody literally in the movie theater just broadcasting the movie. And I was like, what is happening? But it seems like it's everywhere. Like everybody's just recording and posting. I also heard that they pushed back the digital release date and also the physical because why not? It's like printing money. So just keep it in theaters, I guess.
That reminds me of the bootleggers, just like the straight up bootleggers from back in the day, just like with the video camera. Like that's just
yeah, but I've never seen it with any other movie ever like this.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, and on top of that too, it's just like enough people have seen it. It's making $1 billion. So it's just like what are we posting it on Twitter for? Like that's what I don't get. Is like mostly anybody who's seen the movie has probably seen it by now. But and on top of that too, like on Twitter, you're kind of reduced to just the screen that you have here. It's not like a movie theater watching. But I guess if you truly live that pirate lifestyle, this is Twitter just made it 100 times easier.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Next up on my list is Jedi Survivor is a mess of a release. If you guys haven't heard, and we are playing on console, I will talk about the game a little bit. On console, the game's a little bit less of a mess. Still a mess, regardless. But on PC, it's unplayable. And it's kind of sparked a lot of the debates this year about how AAA games on PC are continually getting released as a mess and then being fixed later on. I had this discussion with a group text of mine that they're all PC gamers. I'm really the only one that stayed on console or sticks on console. But if anybody needs an explanation of this, a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's the same thing that Xbox has with the Series S or the Series S and the Series X. Like, these games have to be flexible to all types of different GPUs, CPUs, RAMs, and everything, all the computer components. And if something isn't aligned right or isn't being handled correctly, then everybody with, that certain chip or certain GPU is going to have an issue. It's the flexibility of things that makes it difficult because they need to produce a game that fits for a baseline, but then also go really heavy into high end computer stuff. It's all very interesting conversation, as I imagine everyone is finding. But
Yes.
Yeah.
you know,
Is this do we blame the developer or do we blame the publisher for pushing out the game? Like, do you think it's the developers being like, it's
Ooh.
not ready, and the publishers being like, no, it needs to go out, fix it later?
How many times are we having a CD Project Red kind of thing?
Yeah.
Is that's a very good question there.
Because The Last of Us had the same problem
yep.
on PC. A lot of games. I don't know. I don't know who to blame on this one. If it's just the general consensus now with developers is like, just put it out and we'll patch it. It seems like that's what they're doing.
Well, and
Yeah,
I
it's
guess I was gonna say,
no,
I
no, go
guess it
ahead.
feels like with QA, quality assurance stuff and testing, all we ever hear about is how these people's and their jobs are getting cut. It's
Mhm.
just less and less people working on this stuff. So console's at least a baseline, but when you're testing on computer, you're probably testing on a baseline computer, not like whether it's high end or low end of, that specific set of things or the tools or what they have to go by where, instead of having thousands of different computers, they may have only three. And I feel like
Mhm.
that's where things get a little messed up.
Yeah, and it's like the consistent climate that you're seeing now with just general business is like a lot of businesses are just trying to do a lot more with just less people.
Yeah.
Like it's like we see it in the video game world. The issue with the video game world, or not the issue, because I'm glad that this happened, but like the last 4 years have just extreme uptick in what is requested in terms of video game release quantity and just like how fast things are coming out. Video games have soared since COVID, even back to when we saw when the Switch was unavailable due to the popularity. It's like people just discovered video games in the last 4 years. And while that's great for the climate, and I have my own group of people that I know that are now casual gamers when they didn't play a lick of video games before 2019. But like when you see that, in addition to we're trying to have all of these titles being released and released in a specific wave to keep the people, number one, clamoring for more, but also satisfied, supply and demand kind of thing. It's like a lot of different things that go into it. And we just like, you have the publishers who are like, get it out, get it out. And you have the developers like, well, we're trying to make this perfect, you know?
Yeah.
And what we're seeing is a result of like both parties sometimes not agreeing, and here we are with just releases that are just falling apart.
Am I mistaken, or did the first Fallen Order come out as a mess as well? I
I don't
feel like it
remember.
did. I feel like I remember when I
Yeah, I feel like
played it.
I feel like it
Yeah,
did.
it was like an issue the first time. So
Okay.
this isn't like a new thing for them. And I remember it getting patched, but I also remember by the time it got patched, I was already done with it. So like I played
Yeah.
it in the broken state because it was on console. And here we go again, But I'm saving all that for when we talk about it later.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
saving more of my
Yes, of
stuff
course.
too.
Of course.
And then my final piece of news, because it pertains to me, Armored Core 6 gets a release date, and it's
Yes.
on my birthday. So thank you,
Hey.
From Software. From Software
Let's go.
coming in clutch for my birthday, and I've never played any of the Armored Core games, but
What?
yeah, they look like fun. Are they fun?
Mm-hmm. They're fun.
They are fun.
Yeah. Yeah. This looks a little different though. That gameplay trailer, like it's interesting.
Yeah, like I've never played, I don't think, really any type of that type of game before. Like I know that Switch had one type of game that was like that, but I
Yeah.
never played it or anything like that. So I'm
Uh,
excited. It's being developed by From Software, so and
yes.
you
Can
know
we
they
just
they put it in there. They do good
can we
stuff.
just get From Software to just dip their hands in like every single
No,
thing? Like let's get a sports game with From Software. Like
no.
just like a
Too
straight
much
up.
From Software is a bad thing. Because I
Yeah,
almost feel like this isn't going to be a typical Armored Core game as far as like what I
there's no
remember.
way.
Yeah,
Definitely not. It's
because wasn't
definitely
it like I feel like what PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era was a lot of Armored
Mhm.
Core games,
Yes,
and
it was.
and they were more like not like a Souls like, which I feel this one's gonna kind of be like.
It
It
definitely
was
feels
more
like it. Yeah.
it was
It was.
more like controlling your I don't even know the best way to explain it. It was a lot of like controlling your shields and your ammo, and like
Yeah.
it was super in depth. But at the time I was like, this is so much fun. Like
Yeah.
I just thought it was so cool. And could you not like you swap out parts? I think
I think
if
so.
I
Yeah.
remember correctly
Yeah, I think so.
on the old ones. Yeah, it's such a hazy memory, but it's a good memory. So like I'm
Yeah.
excited to try it for sure.
Barry or Craig,
Mhm.
what year is it? Is it coming out this year?
Yeah.
Yep,
Pardon me while
in
I
the
write
fall,
that
right?
down.
August,
Pardon me while I write that
it's
down.
right before the fall of August 25th.
August 25th. Was that the same time Soul Hackers 2 came out last year? No, it's playing.
That was really close. I think that was
Yeah,
really
it was.
close. Yeah.
It was like August 20th or 25th or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something. I'm getting that.
Look, major
Oh,
releases on my birthday. What can I say? They know. First it
You
was
were the
Soul
major
Hackers 2.
release
Yeah.
on
Yep.
your birthday. You were the
Yeah, I bet
major
I
release
was.
on your birthday.
I bet I was.
Yep. I have the curse of a summer birthday, so no games ever come out on my birthday ever. Like July, I feel like is usually a wasteland for games.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
It's definitely a catch-up month.
Maybe they just move Final Fantasy 16 over to your birthday. Maybe that's what they'll do for you.
That'd be nice, but isn't that like September or something?
No, that's June. Final
No,
Fantasy
it's June 22nd.
second. Yeah.
Okay.
comes out.
Well, I guess I could. That's pretty close. I could consider that.
Okay. Craig's got his birthday game. All right, there we go.
Final Fantasy. Oh,
yeah,
boy.
Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
That's either going to be a really good birthday game or really terrible. There's no in between on that game.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. It's going to be, yeah.
But yeah, that's all I have on my news list. What about you guys?
So the first thing I got to go into for sure, and I did post this over on like our TikTok and Instagram, but this Twisted Metal TV show.
Yes. I was hoping you.
Okay. So they didn't show much, right? We got Anthony Mackie, and then we got the look at Sweet Tooth. A quick look at Sweet Tooth. Interesting note when I was looking into that, voice is played by Will Arnett, but the actual physical actor, which is kind of funny for me because I enjoy wrestling, is Samoa Joe from the.
Really?
Used to be in WWE. He's in AEW now, but I thought that was kind of interesting. I've seen it's very polarizing online right now as far as yes or no. I thought the teaser was kind of cool. I liked him putting in the CD and just kind of, I think that was a cool way to introduce it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it going to be good?
Oh, please pick me. Please pick me.
Go ahead.
I have things to say about this. So, number one, there is a staple that they showed with Sweet Tooth. Where is Rob Zombie and where does he fit? Because as soon as the CD was put in, I wanted to hear just all of the tracks there. Had to say that out the get-go. There needs to be Mr. Grimm. There needs to be Outlaw. There needs to be Axel.
Yep.
Oh my God, I feel like there needs to be some
Barry
form of
has
dark
no
side.
idea who you're talking about right now.
I know who Rob Zombie is. The only thing is,
Well, yeah.
is like I know him for one song, and that's Dracula.
Yeah.
Dracula, I think it is.
Yeah.
Burn to the witches.
Be careful.
Rob Zombie.
We're gonna get copyright stricken right there. You gotta be careful how much you say.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Rob Zombie songs were a staple of that series of the games.
Yeah, they were.
Like they were all over it. I agree with you though. I think those certain characters have to be in there, and I'm assuming they will. It looks like Anthony Mackie's character, at least from what I can tell, is just a new character made up. So I mean, he's driving a pretty basic car though, which is I don't know. Like Twisted Metal has always been like weird cars, like the ice cream truck, or a dude attached to wheels. Like him driving just a random car with machine guns on the front. I was kind of like, okay, I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say about it. Twisted Metal, regardless of what one came out, and I think I can argue this, but like, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think Twisted Metal is just polarizing. Yeah. Like, there's just going to be people that just like it and that don't. There were people who liked the first game. It got a lot of controversy because of the blood and the gore and how it was portrayed. I think it's just a polarizing piece of media, like whatever form it's in. So there's going to be a polarizing result to this show in terms of how people feel. However, as somebody that literally grew up with and had all of them, I don't know if I can be fully disappointed. I'm just happy that they actually are paying attention to Twisted Metal again. Like,
Yeah.
and that somebody was like, you know what, there should be a TV series. It's probably not going to be groundbreaking. It's coming out off the wake of The Last of Us and its impact on the general public who have not played the game. So it's got a lot of shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Not to mention the Dungeons and Dragons adaptations getting good stuff. Like there's a bunch of stuff that's, video game, tabletop game adapted, whatever. But like 8-year-old Craig is happy that they're doing this. So like, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to tune in weekly. That's just me. I can understand if you at home watchers and listeners are not at all. But I don't know how they got Anthony Mackie on there, by the way.
That's
I don't know
wild.
where he popped in.
Yeah, I don't, at least in my friend group growing up, like every single one of my friends bought Twisted Metal when it came out. And maybe that's like a skewed, look. Maybe it wasn't that way, but for me, I always just assumed like, oh, the new Twisted Metal came out, everybody's getting it this summer, and like we're all gonna 4-player split screen it at somebody's house all summer. And that's all. That was just like a staple of not being in school was Twisted Metal. So maybe it wasn't that way everywhere else, but for sure around where I was, it was a big impact game for sure.
Most definitely.
Next one, sticking with racing here, Forza Motorsports is in polishing phase and will launch later this year. So there's one exclusive for Microsoft confirmed, right?
Other than Redfall for this year, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess
Game of the Year.
And I guess what is it? Starfall?
Starfield.
Starfield, Starfall, yeah, all that fun.
Yep.
I almost said Star Citizen.
Star
That's a whole different
Citizen's
thing.
Field.
Yeah, that's never coming out. Star Citizen. Yeah. I can't wait to play Forza Motorsports for about 3 days and then not touch it again because that's usually what happens.
Ooh, it's a pretty game. Now I'm done.
Yep. Horizon, I definitely stick with more for sure than Motorsport, but I'll download it. I'll probably 250 gigs of it and play it for a little bit and then delete it because I need the space. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
That's one of the first ones to get sacrificed when I need space is racing games and sports games. I'm just like, man, get them out of here.
If I may, gentlemen, be so forward, how long do you keep Call of Duty on your PlayStation even though you need or Xbox even though you need space?
It's always on there. I don't delete it.
Yes, it is. Barry, your answer? Are you agreeing here?
For this year especially, yes. Craig can attest. I'm on Call of Duty more than I ever have been.
You are.
So
I'm always online at night playing Apex, and I'll see Barry get on, and I'm like, oh, and then he goes to Call of Duty, and I go, oh,
yeah,
because I'm like fully back into Apex now.
Yeah,
it
nice. Seems like
I go back and forth. Like I got so much into Call of Duty, I got that camo, all the camos, and then I just lost any desire to play it anymore. And then I was like, well, I might as well just go back to Apex until I get tired of that and I switch back. But those two are the staples that will never get deleted on my Xbox. Call of Duty specifically because it takes so long to download. I won't uninstall it because I don't want to go through that again.
Not wrong there.
Yeah, because I feel like it's almost 200 gigs at this point. It's close. All right, last one I have. I thought this was weird. Guerrilla Games confirms a new Horizon game, and like the most random post that they put up, it was just like out of nowhere. And then at the very bottom, it was like, we are excited to continue the story. This just came out of nowhere, and I was like, we all kind of assumed, obviously, that there was at least one more. I feel like it's a trilogy. But for them to just so casually be like, yeah, we're excited to, we are working on one. Just be like, huh? And it kind of caught people off guard. Out of all of us, Barry, you're probably the most excited, right?
Yeah, I'd say I am.
Did you get into that DLC?
I finished it.
Oh, okay, sweet. See?
Ooh, okay.
He's more excited than all of us. But yeah, that's all I had. Not a whole lot this week.
All right, I had just a couple. One of them was definitely the Twisted Metal thing. Oh man, I don't know why I'm so excited for that, but well, I guess I explained it. This one is a very quick one. Apparently, and I'm taking all opportunities to crap on the new Gollum game coming out. Number one, because I picked it last year as one of my games, and it got delayed. And number two, the more gameplay that I saw, it just looks like, why are we doing this? Can we just get like just something different? I would rather do a game where with Merry and Pippin where I'm trying to do the same thing, which is stealth and like run. Like anyway, but apparently, well, go.
I was gonna say, at least with Merry and Pippin, it'd probably be actually kind of funny. Or
Yeah,
at least
that's what I'm
they'd be able to
thinking.
bounce jokes off each other. Where Gollum, but continue to go ahead. Yeah, go.
Precious.
Yeah, I hear that.
But yeah, but apparently, in order to hear the elves speak in their elvish tongue, you have to purchase. It's paywalled. You have to purchase the deluxe version of the game. If you do not have the money for the deluxe version of the game and purchase the standard game, then the elves in the game will speak in the common tongue. Why? Why that, of all things?
Well, their explanation was interesting, which is they had to teach the voice actors how to speak it, is how they're saying, to justify the added cost. Which, okay, but like, I mean, I wouldn't pay for it. First of all, nobody's buying this game. Let's be honest.
Well, number one.
Second of all, nobody's paying extra to hear it. I'll just listen in English. That's fine.
I think that angers me too, because anytime elves are in a game, they're actually one of my favorite races. Like they're just very mysterious, and there's a lot of wonderful portrayals of elves. And like if we even go back to like frickin' I don't know, pick any Warcraft before World of Warcraft, I was playing the elves. Like you know what I mean? Like I just like them. I like that race, and that just annoyed me to the core that you had to pay extra in order to get them actually speak the Elvish tongue. I'm not buying the game, by the way, gentlemen and listeners and viewers. I'm not, but I had to throw that guy out there. I wanted to take, because I know Craig normally reports on some like actually Barry, you do too, between the feud between PlayStation and Xbox, specifically with the acquisition of Blizzard and such. But there was a report that came out, and the report, it was part of like the whole court, like the large amount of documents in that particular case, and one of the writings in there was how long it takes for a AAA game to be made, and they cited Halo Infinite as an example. And then the next line that came up, and I have to read it and quote, oh my God, is it was, where is it? There it is. So for instance, according to one Microsoft executive, Redacted, a forthcoming title from the Redacted franchise may take a decade to develop. Now, the reason why I'm reading that particular one is what sequel for what franchise is taking a decade to make? Now, my heart, sadly, says Elder Scrolls.
They're past 4 though, aren't they? There's more than 4.
There are actually. You're right.
Beyond Good and Evil.
No, that's only 1. They said it was Redacted number 4, right? As in the 4th one.
It said Redacted, a forthcoming title.
Oh, forthcoming. Okay. All right. I thought you meant like the 4th in a series. Okay.
No, I see where your head's at there.
Gears.
Gears, yeah, it has been a while. It has been a while. How
many years has it been since Gears 5?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That would be my first guess. It could be Elder Scrolls, though.
I still think it's Beyond Good and Evil, too.
Maybe.
We saw that game like at E3 in like 2000, like a trailer for it in 2014 or 15, didn't we?
Yeah. And
Gears 5
and another guess.
2019.
Oh, go ahead. 2019.
So it's not Gears.
I think a year and a half ago I would have guessed Fable.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That might actually be right, because Fable 3 was on the 360.
Yeah.
And that was forever ago. So it could be Fable.
And that's a 4th. So that goes back to Craig's theory of a 4th game.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get these theories going.
Yeah. That's
the
a good
fact
guess.
of the matter is, that's a decade though, man. Like, I don't know. We're mad at Rockstar for their like development time frame on the new GTA. Well,
That's
I guess not mad,
greedy.
but yeah. But I don't know, that title or that news struck a chord. I guess the last thing I have, it's not necessarily news. My birthday is coming up soon, and I wanted to show this because my wife actually pre-ordered it for me, and I didn't know. But
let
me see if I can get the right lighting. I got the Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay, so we have a
OLED switch.
Zelda OLED Switch
Yep.
review. All right, let's see.
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on, Craig.
Let's do it.
Let's
Okay. So,
show us the console, and then we need the review.
okay.
Okay.
So here's the console itself. It's got the
Mhm.
classic OLED screen. OLED switches are not new, so a lot of you at home and listening may have at least seen one or probably own one as well.
Sure.
The Joy-Cons I do like. Let me just pretend like it's my first day though. The Joy-Cons I do like. To be honest, what were they the Skyward Sword Joy-Cons that were the purple, the ones that were
Yes.
like
Purple and orange,
like
right? Or something.
Purple and
purple
blue.
and like a blue.
Blue.
So
Yeah.
those edge these out. Definitely. But I do particularly enjoy the Joy-Cons itself. I like the weight. This is my first OLED Switch, so I do not own one. So as far as the OLED style, I powered up because I wanted to test the screen. So I powered up the latest oh my gosh. What's the game we both play? Came out in January. Barry.
Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem. I played Fire Emblem and oh my god, it looks gorgeous. Here is the dock as well.
Cool.
I can't get them right.
It's a nice dock.
It is a nice dock. I'm worried about the white.
Yeah, my
You know,
Cheeto
because-
fingers. Yeah, Cheeto fingers there, and that thing's gone. That thing's done.
Yeah, but you don't touch the dock that often.
Flaming hot
You
Cheeto
don't.
fingers on that thing.
You don't. You just got to do this every so often for the dust. Just go like
Yeah.
one of those just jet sweeps. But as far as it itself, I have the also these guys as well. What are these called again?
I don't know.
The Joy-Con straps.
I don't even know what
Yeah.
the Joy-Con straps. I thought they had
So
like a more
leave it in the
technical name.
box because I've never touched mine.
I don't use these either.
I have a box. I've got a little box that has all of mine all in one area.
Yeah.
Mm.
Other than that, I mean, it's a great as far as the screen itself. The screen is really, really, really crisp. To tell you, gentlemen, I'm not really a portable Switch guy, but I think that it might take something like this to become a portable Switch guy. My wife saw my reaction and actually bought me Persona 5 portable, or Persona 5 Royal Switch, so it's now portable for me. Not to confuse
Another
Persona
reason to play Persona 5 again.
No, there's too many games to be playing that.
Yeah. So that'll be my second copy of Persona 5 Royal. And I don't know. I think I could see myself playing it gradually as we're watching TV. But what I want to do is I do want to finish Fire Emblem. I think I'm going to play Metroid Prime this way now because I was wondering, like, the only thing that's going to get me to not play it on a screen is an OLED screen. Like, I got an OLED, but like a portable OLED screen is dope. So overall, all in all, it's great. It just feels a lot better. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have the first gen Switch. So I've had a Switch for like 5 years, 5.5 or whatever it is. So it's, I'm very excited about it, but yeah. Can't wait for the Zelda game to drop so I could just plop it into my Zelda Switch.
Let me ask you guys this, because I mean this will tie into, you know, like games we played this week, because obviously I played Advance Wars, right? And I 99% of the time I play handheld on the Switch if I'm playing something. Very rarely do I play on a TV. So if you will see, let me hold up mine. My Switch is the Mario Odyssey Switch that came out right when the Mario, with the original red Joy-Cons. I have not bought a single pair of Joy-Cons since this came out. I'm still using the same ones. Now here's the question, because now that like I've played it a little bit more, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, you know, I should probably upgrade this thing because it's old. If I'm playing Advance Wars, I bet you I get maybe 2-3 hours before I have to recharge it on playing Advance Wars, which isn't very good, right? Which tells me my battery's probably not the greatest anymore. But part of me is like, I don't use my Switch a whole lot. And do I just wait until the next iteration of whatever it is comes out for the Switch? That's the question. You know, do I get an OLED, or do I just I hold out another year or two and see if something else comes down the pipeline?
So I can honestly tell you, I'm very happy to receive this as a gift from my wife. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig's wife.
Yes.
Thank you, my wife. Um, so anyway, I really enjoyed receiving it as a gift. She knows me very well, and she knows that I would not buy an OLED Switch myself because I am the category, the demographic that is just waiting for them to up their
Yep.
technological ante. I don't see a reason based off of what you just gave to get an OLED Switch, even though I basically just gave the reasons of why I'm going to play mine. So sorry
Right.
about that, but like, 2 to 3 hours in Advance Wars, it's, what, 350 for an OLED Switch,
Yep.
depending on which one you buy. Actually, I don't think they fluctuate. I think they're just 350. But I could be wrong. But I don't know. Like, how long are we waiting for a new one?
Yeah.
Is the other
Yeah.
question, because they're not showing any signs of.
I feel like you
I
get a
think.
rumbling every 6 months about a new version, and then it just goes away.
Yeah,
Mm,
I feel like what we have nice is like Craig's in that honeymoon phase of the OLED Switch. I am
Mm-hmm.
more in the I am more in the seasoned marriage mode with the OLED Switch. I
Yep.
can definitely say, like, I would just say wait. Like,
Yeah.
in in the end, now that the OLED one, and I guess if we're all just showing our Switches, we'll just
Yes. They're all
we
so handy. They're so close.
yes, they're just
yeah.
all right here, like, within
We're
an
just
arm's
flexing.
reach.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
what and I guess the main thing here is the OLED Switch is something that becomes a bit more of like, you're just like, okay, it's an OLED. Like, I'm if the new OLED model, like that screen is kind of its, trying to think of the word for it, but the impressiveness of it has definitely worn down on me. Like, I just turned on my Switch. To be honest, I don't even think of it as an OLED model. It's just a Switch. Like, that's the
Mm-hmm.
kind of like things that my mind goes through now that I've had this for a while. So,
Hmm.
with that being said, I definitely say wait. If you can hold on to it, just wait a little bit more, and
Yep.
hopefully you get rewarded by getting something that's a lot more powerful in docked mode or in portable mode. But
Yeah.
I
the
really, I really thought if they were going to do anything, it would have been around the release of Zelda.
yeah, you'd think.
You think they
Yeah.
had plenty of time to, like, kind of, production wise get it ready
Mm-hmm.
for that, and like with all the releases of like Steam Deck and all subsequent handhelds,
Yep.
it's still not. I mean, would you be pushed if you were Nintendo? People are still buying the crap out of these things. They have so many licenses on so many awesome franchises
Yeah.
that they never feel in a corner. I would just hope that sometime they would, in like this, we got to get out new hardware. Let's go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, Sony's like, oh, we're going to get that PS Pro out, a PS5 Pro as soon as, like
Yep.
I just wish that Nintendo would feel rushed, so to speak, or at least like a little bit more just urgency of like trying to up the game, but that's
That's
just me.
that's our own fault because we keep buying it.
Yes. Yes.
It's literally
Yes, we
our
do.
fault.
Yeah. It's us as the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do want to say, working in the retail business, it does seem like Nintendo did a good job of supplying a decent amount of these Switches. Like, there wasn't like lines out of stores or horror stories about how they people had an issue pre-ordering them or getting them. Like, I know people that got it just on the day. They didn't pre-order it. Stores had extra and they were able to get it. So, and this is the same Switch model that leaked months ago.
Yeah.
So, like, Nintendo was developing it, or Nintendo manufactured it. So I feel like it's the same thing with like how we're seeing a bunch of PS5s now in the wild. Like,
Yeah.
it's they restricted the flow, and now that they have a backlog of them coming out, people can easily get them, and now it's also just easy to find. More PS5s and or Switch OLEDs as well. So, may
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's what Nintendo's probably trying to do with the Switch Pro, if that is what they're making. Like, will eventually a model probably get leaked? Sure. I hope it's this holiday season, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I just hope that they can meet the demand, and the demand for a Switch Pro is, I think, probably greater than any like console I've really seen in a long time here.
Yeah.
There are tons of
Yeah.
people that are ready and want Switch Pros. The Switch right now is, it's a good system, but people want it to be on the more tiers of the Xbox or PlayStation. So we have to hope that Nintendo is at least preparing for that.
They're probably
Hopefully.
not.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not. who are we? Like, who are we joking here? It's
Yep.
Nintendo.
It is.
But if
Yeah,
that's going
that's
to
it
be
for
all,
me.
all right,
Sweet.
perfect. So then that's it for news this week. Let's go ahead and get into games, where I got about 3 to 4 hours into Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and I finished Horizon Burning Shores.
Sweet.
All right.
I have some Jedi Survivor as well. I have Advance Wars, like I said earlier. I wanted to do a quick check-in on Dead Island because I played a bunch more of that. And then because of Craig over there, I tried the last case of Benedict Fox.
Oh, can we please commiserate about it?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So I spoiler alert. That's one of my games. Last case of Benedict Fox is one there. And then I beat Dredge, which was that dark fishing game that I was talking about last week.
I think dark and fishing go into like the same
it's so
sentence
weird
here.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's so funny. But like I finished that. I'll give like final thoughts, a couple of minutes on that, and then I don't think I have as much time in Jedi Survivor. I probably have like an hour or two in.
Well, it took
But
2
that's
hours
because
to
of
install.
it took 6 years
more than that.
to install.
Yeah.
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 I was so mad. I was like,
Yep.
what is this Call of Duty game that I'm putting on my PS5?
Ridiculous.
But yeah, so I could definitely weigh in on what I saw from Jedi Survivor as well so far.
Sweet.
Where do we start this week? How
Jedi
about
Survivor.
I would say, I either let you two start with Benedict Fox, or
All right, we can
start
do
with
that.
Jedi Survivor. Okay,
Let's do it.
Benedict Fox, take the
Last
floor.
case of Benedict Fox. What the hell is this game?
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to explain it. I don't know what I'm playing, and I don't like it. There you go. That's mine. Go ahead.
All right, Craig.
So like I don't know, man. So like I had such high hopes for it. The gameplay and the trailers were nice. They didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It just dropped at like at least our time on this side, 12 p.m. on Game Pass. It was just there, and I was like, oh, okay, so they didn't delay it. It's essentially, so it is about a last case. I've realized this getting about 3 to 4 hours into the game, and you walk
write down those notes. The last case.
the
All right,
last
case. And it's like a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
With like a sprinkle of, what did I write down? I had notes on it.
A little bit of Dark Souls, maybe.
A little bit of Dark Souls, a little bit of Hollow Knight in the presentation, and also sprinkle some LA Noire on there. There's a bunch of different things you can find in terms of clues. And here's the issue with this game. So the game in the Dark Souls aspect does not tell you anything. They have like a small story. You realize Benedict Fox is in this house. There's a murder. The interesting thing about the game, which is what is a check in the right box, is in order to figure out what happens, you essentially, with your demon companion, by the way, that's connected to him.
Which is just there, and they don't explain it all.
Which they don't explain why he's there. You descend into the memories of the dead person, essentially, which is a dark, disgusting, but also beautiful at times world that you're running through. And you find a bunch of clues, and there's clues everywhere. You have to like search, like, while like kind of turn it around like you would do in LA Noire, like just turn it around so you could actually see something different on there. Here's where the game falls short, is because they don't tell you anything. They're very proud and ballsy with the not telling you anything aspect. So you spend a lot of this game like frustrated.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where to go. You've seen all the things that you can in the level. And I think they thought they were very crafty with like, you need this one thing to progress, but when you picked up the 80th thing, you didn't actually turn it around into a perfect diagonal aspect to see the one small speck of dust that you use to move forward. And I was curious because I was stuck at a place for like 20 minutes and I was mad. It was like first puzzle and scorn mad. And I looked it up, and the Steam community had a developer chiming in, and people were putting like, I'm really frustrated, but it's a great game. Person's like, where are you frustrated? I'll send you a part of the map. Next one, I'm very frustrated at this part. I got this far, and da-da-da-da-da. Developer comments. And I'm like, why do you have a game where there's one of the developers essentially like a teenager with Facebook on Steam, watching it to help people through the game that dropped that day. And like, I understand that there's like, this is not the only time a developer has chimed in to help somebody, like in the Steam comment and in the community. But what I saw was an equal level of frustration with people who are actually giving this game more than an hour.
Yep.
And somebody who has to handhold them through their Dark Souls don't tell you anything game. Because I don't care how dark, I don't care what you think about the Dark Souls series. I'm never like, I don't know where to freaking go for an hour. I'm more like, I died for the 45th time this hour, but I know where I'm going. Like, you know what I mean? So that's my that's my small rant on this game. And you know what? I'm gonna play it more, and I don't know why. That's my rant. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. Like, I was so confused, and like this week, I think it may have hit you guys already, but this week was the first week this year where I felt overwhelmed with games, where I was like, oh my God. And when I got stuck in that first area in this game, I was like, there's too many games for me to play right now. I'm done. You know, like, I am not going to waste an hour of my time when I have, you know, I'm playing 3 other games right now with Redfall coming on Tuesday and other games right behind it. And these games are like hours and hours of my time that I'm actually enjoying. Like, I don't have time for this. Like, oh, you know, it's going to take you a couple hours to figure it out. I don't care. I'm done. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm out of this. I'm sure your game is fine, but I don't care enough to Google it like you did. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind doing that in some games, but like, it's like they expect you to, and I don't want a game to expect me to have to go to the internet to figure out what I'm doing. So I just immediately was like, I'm done. You know, like, see you later. I don't need to play this. There's other better games.
Yeah, for those of you at home who are willing to give this game a shot, there is, and they ask you at the beginning of the game, a auto solve mode, which essentially, if you have the correct items and you are examining the right thing, it will auto solve the puzzle for you. I don't normally like to tell people to do the easy mode thing. Do that, man. Because like, farther in the game, this is the last thing I'll say. You get a book that has a bunch of symbols in it. And there's a bunch of walls in the game that have symbols that are similar to it. And you essentially have to create math problems to solve these walls. It'll have like a symbol that'll look like this, and this is 10. And then a symbol like this, and this is like 20. You have to find the symbols for 1,000th, 100th, a 10, and a 1 to create a 4-number symbol. And you have to have the book open with you while you do it, so that you can pass one wall.
You need a book in real life.
Yeah, you need a notebook. Yep.
And the combat is sluggish too, by the way. Button responses do not work. I know I have an Xbox like high caliber controller. It's not the controller. It's your game.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good enough to warrant the time they want you to put in.
I like it. Craig doesn't get heated very often. He was a little heated there. I could hear it in his voice.
You could see where you could see the algorithm they had that was perfectly correct. Make a LA Noire based game with like Metroidvania styles where you have to fight occasionally, but find a bunch of clues. Yes, I'll buy every game like that. But now I'm going to be cautious on any game. It was on
Game Pass.
Good thing it was on Game Pass. So,
and just a little fun question, because I'm not sure if you ever talked about it on this podcast. Do any of you have like a hardest puzzle that you've ever played in a video game? Like, do you remember it clearly? Like, if you guys need a minute to think about it, I already have mine. So mine is Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass.
Yes, water. Is it
I think it is. It's the one where you have to close your 3DS to put the marker on the bottom map.
Okay.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, like I dropped that game for days because I'm sitting there with the stylus and I'm like, why won't it draw? I don't get it. I've been drawing on the map this entire time. And to think the developers went, you need to close the DS to get the stamp onto your map on the bottom screen. I'm like, that I had to look it up. Like, I didn't figure it out just based off of randomness, but it was it was by far one of the most frustrating puzzles I ever had, just because I guess for the most part, it had to do with the hardware. It wasn't like the game puzzling me.
Yeah.
It was, here's the hardware is your problem, is the
Yeah.
puzzle that you must solve.
Man.
I'm gonna stick Legend of Zelda. I'm just gonna go Ocarina of Time, just the entire water temple.
Yeah, that one is pretty confusing.
Tough.
Based off of when I first did it, by the
Yeah,
way. That's definitely what I have to
I bet
say.
you honestly, I'm gonna have to say the first Metal Gear Solid, when you get to the point where they tell you to call someone. Do you remember that, Craig?
Yep.
And they're like, hey, you need to call them, but you don't know what frequency it is to call them.
Yeah.
And I spent hours like running back and forth in the game, like, oh, maybe I missed like some piece of info to call them, because when you call, the hint they give you, they're like, check the back of the case. And I was like, what case? It was the actual physical case the game is in. Wow. It's on I have it, but like it's on the back of the case is a picture of the codec, and on it is the frequency. And like that's at that time there wasn't the internet to go find out what the answer was. So I had to be like, the case. And I looked down and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. It's such a smart move. But at the time, like hours, I was so frustrated. And I'm like, what case? There's no case to find. Man, that was like, it's genius, but super frustrating.
Yeah, leave it up to
Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, leave it up to him.
Yeah. Can we just, while we're doing that, can we just add the whole Psycho Mantis fight in general?
Yes. That was great too. Reading your memory card, making you switch your controller to player 2 so he can't read your inputs. Man.
Classic.
Wild. Yep.
That was a good question, Barry.
Well, it's a part of me, like, I wish I lived like during like or played Metal Gear during that time, because that would have blown my mind. Like at the time.
It was one of the craziest things ever.
But think about if you would have at that time, if you would have bought in that game, say you went to, it would have been Electronics Boutique at the time, not GameStop. Say you went to Electronics Boutique and you bought that game used, right? And maybe you bought it and it didn't have the actual
original
case.
Yeah, the original.
You're screwed. You're screwed.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. Yeah,
because you can't go look it up. And you'd have to be like, I don't know, maybe ask your friends. I don't know what you would do in that instance. Because there's definitely like, even back then you could buy games and they would be in like those generic cases because they didn't have the actual case. So that would have been terrible. You'd have been stuck.
Yeah, you would have had to call your friend on your home phone. You couldn't even text your friend. You would have to, tell your bigger sister to get off the internets so that you can call your friend on your home phone.
Yep.
Stop messaging your fake AOL boyfriend.
Exactly.
Yeah. Get your landline on.
But let's go ahead into, and we'll talk about Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That's what we'll do next. So Star Wars Jedi Survivor is a bit of a mess on console.
Are you playing on PlayStation?
I'm playing on Xbox.
So am I. Craig, what are you playing on?
PlayStation.
Okay, perfect. Continue.
Okay, so we have, all right, so we each have an idea, and I'm not sure with you, but the first moment you load into the game, the entire like logo screens are all running in like 5 frames a second.
Yep.
Like
every time.
Every time you boot up the game, it's that issue on Xbox. Now, like I will say, performance wise, I really haven't run into any crashes. I have seen like a frame drop or two, nothing terrible or that stops me from playing it. But like,
are you playing on performance or quality?
Quality.
So am I. Okay.
All right. So it seems as though like some of it, like definitely people are having various experiences. I can't imagine like in the state it's in on Series X. I can't imagine somebody playing it on Series S right now. Like,
oh my God,
I'm interested to see what those people have to say. And maybe it's not as bad because like you're not running it at 4K. You're probably running it at 1440p. Blah 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 blah, technical stuff. But really, I do think this is still probably like the best Star Wars reality game in a way. Just like how we got Hogwarts Legacy with it, we get like, this is our Star Wars fantasy game where we're kind of in it there. My main gripe with the game right now is I've died too many times because I don't know what's climbable.
Yep.
Uh, like
Yeah.
in Horizon, I can't tell you how many times I'm pressing in the button to like scan the environment to see what's scannable. In Horizon, you can do that, but in this game, there is no scanning. It's just looking, and sometimes a wall looks climbable because it has holes, but you just run up to it and there's nothing there. And if there's no bottom floor, you're just falling through the floor, or falling into space there. And one of them is like you can climb these scratched walls is the best thing I'm gonna like say that they are. They're like lightly worn walls. That's all they are. That
Yep.
you
Lightly
can,
worn walls.
and all it is he jumps out and then jumps back in. It's like the weirdest thing. I thought
Yeah.
it was such a
Yeah.
weird
It
animation
feels like
for
you're
it.
breaking the game when you do
Yeah,
it.
Mhm.
exactly. Maybe that's what a Star Wars like a Jedi feels like, is breaking a game.
Hmm.
But like how do you guys feel so far?
You know, the wall thing, I feel like is something that has to do with the fact that everybody's always complaining that it's too obvious in a game where you can climb. Like Uncharted, Horizon, they'll have like the yellow on
Yeah, yeah.
the wall. And I feel like this was them being like, oh, let's make it a little less obvious, but going too far in the other direction, where now you're just like,
Yeah.
I don't like, there's times where I'm like, where am I supposed to go? Like, I just see like nowhere to go. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, it's over there.
Yeah.
Performance wise, I'm having a ton of pop in, a
Yeah.
ton. Um, I had like, after you do like the first area, the Coruscant area, which is like the intro, right? And you go
Mhm.
to your first planet. There is, if you remember in the first game, remember how like the first side boss was like that big frog thing?
Yeah.
You remember
Yeah.
that? Okay,
Oh
so
yeah.
in this one they have kind of that, like this big animal. I don't know if you did it, Barry. It's kind of like off to the side,
I haven't
and you
done it
can.
yet, no.
Okay, so there's like this animal thing, and you like walk off in this different direction because I've been like trying to explore everywhere, and I was like, oh, it's kind of like that, where he jumps down and you fight him, and it's like a mini boss. Uh, but what happened is there is a area like he's up on a ledge and he jumps down, and then there's an area to the left that you can force pull that leads up to where he was originally at, right? So I had pulled it as soon as I got there. He jumps down, we start to fight. He goes next to where that area is and just stands there floating as I kill him. Just
Oh
didn't
my
move.
god.
And I was like, okay. And it kind of reminded me of like some of the bosses I cheesed in Demon Souls, where I
Yeah.
was just like,
Mm.
you'd get them stuck in a wall. But this one
Yeah.
was like so bad because he was just floating, like not touching anything. And I was like, oh my God, here we go. But I'll take the win, I guess.
Yeah.
I
No,
Yeah.
don't
you
know.
Take the W there. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it feels like you're playing a Star Wars movie, which I enjoy. Like the
yeah.
cutscenes are
Mhm.
cool. Um, the acting is good, but I feel like just like the first one, I'm gonna play this game and I'm gonna be like, oh, it was pretty good. And then people who play it later after the updates are gonna be like, oh my god, this game's amazing, and I'm not gonna feel the same way because we're just having like these minor issues now that's kind of bringing it down, like the pop in and the skipping a little bit, audio not syncing up for me
Yeah,
at
that's right.
points
I
is,
that happened to me a
Mm.
oh
couple
my
times.
god, I'm
Yeah.
just like, dude, how
I
did
heard
this
about that.
game get out in this state already? Like that should be stuff you check. Is pop in is okay every once in a while, but it shouldn't be happening all the time. And it's almost constant for me. Every cutscene, even like every new area I go to, it's like boom, you know what I mean? And it'll pop in clear. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my
Yeah.
god, dude, we're supposed to be playing on the top consoles, and it should be optimized
This is
so
the
that
top console. That's the whole
right,
selling point of the Series X. This is the
right,
most
right.
powerful console ever created.
Yep. I don't know. I just feel
Ever.
like I'm not going to be as high on it as I should because of all these small issues that are
Yeah.
going to add up for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get a patch through.
Yeah,
Um.
100 gigabyte update. Like that
40 on the disc and
that
100
th-
download.
yeah,
Yeah.
that just can kind of that's just a hint of like
Yeah.
what is all needed to come out. And like just one other thing before we before I let you talk, Craig, is
Yeah. Of
I
course.
do want to say I do like the fact that Cal just didn't suffer from amnesia and
Yeah.
like forget all of his force powers. and forget all of his lightsaber techniques, you load into this game a seasoned Jedi, knight, I think is what he is
Yeah.
at the end of one.
Mm-hmm.
So he has all of the stances, he has all of his force powers. It's just nice to see that. There's too many times, and I'll throw one of my favorite games under the bus in Kingdom Hearts, where there is like
Yep.
a reset or of some sort where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, Sora forgot his memories, so now he's got to go ahead and learn everything again.
Oh,
So,
Gorsh.
gosh,
you're so goofy.
yeah,
Come on,
Yeah,
Craig, get angry with us.
No, I was saying that's a good point. That's a good point. Now, I haven't experienced as many technical lags, but I have played for the least amount of time in comparison with the both of you. I'm still in the tutorial area.
Okay.
I'm actually to pinpoint where I am because I don't actually know how long I was playing, but I can tell you that I was after the droid, like the first mini boss you fight.
Mhm.
It's the droid that was carrying you, like in the
Yep.
beginning cutscenes, and then you catch up to him. That's where I'm at. I don't know if that's an hour. I know that it might be because I was spending so much time trying to figure out where to go. But
Yep.
but not like Benedict Fox. It was what you were speaking to, Barry. Is like, where do I jump? There's like a couple of areas. I also wanted to make sure I didn't miss any collectibles. I don't want to go back to the tutorial area to click collectibles. That's my gamer thing. I just want, like, I also pretend like every tutorial area you don't go back to. So just make sure you grab everything that's available. But
it's not a bad philosophy there. I can agree
Yeah,
with
but there's
that.
areas in there that you're gonna have to go back to if you want, because he specifically says like, "Oh, we can't open that right now," and I'm like, "Dang it."
yeah, that's true. Speaking of that, I don't know why that made me think of it, but I like the companion nature that is going to accompany this game. You essentially were quite a lone wolf in the beginning, even though you had your friends on your ship. They would be on your ship when you got back, but I mean, in addition to your robot companion.
Right.
So like now we kind of have people that you're kind of fighting with. That you can direct with at least on my console, on PlayStation, sorry, R1 and Square, I believe is what it is.
Mhm.
Or R1 and X. It does feel like a movie, like you were saying, Craig and Barry. It does feel like a movie, and I kind of like that. You could tell that they really upped the production, but like, why is the technical stuff as big an issue with this title? This is still a franchise that's relatively young enough in the Star Wars video game side that this could be your sophomore game is what's going to, like, you're going to either gain new followers or you're going to lose some of the people who thought your first game was pretty dope. You know what I mean? So you got to come out swinging with the correct technical prowess of the game itself and making sure that it performs well. So like that's where I'm annoyed. Again, I didn't see that on my side. I've heard, read, and obviously heard the testimonies of you too, but like, come on. This one is not necessarily built all the way within it's got its portion where it fits in the timeline, and it also is like a separate adventure. So like if we're gonna go that route, like let's make sure Cal and the fluidity of Cal's motions and everything is consistent. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but I haven't experienced a lot myself, but it's early, so
It's not like
at least
they're
so.
these huge open world environments either. Like to have
Exactly.
these kind of technical issues. It's not like we were talking before we started recording though. Like to me, the first one was the one that got me to try Souls-like games because it's a Souls light. And this is even more so. I feel like this is an even better way to get people to try it. But it's not like you have this big open world like Elden Ring where you can go wherever you want. Like these are self-contained levels that you
Yeah.
should not be having these technical issues of pop in, I don't think, because you
No.
don't really see it in Elden Ring, right? And like that's
Mhm.
huge. That's a huge open world. This is super
Yeah.
contained. Like each planet world is usually like 2 or 3, maybe 4 directions you can go in, paths, and that's it. They're not huge. So I don't know why it's not optimized better. And it's Respawn. Like they make
I
good stuff
know.
normally.
They make good stuff. Yeah, they do.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah,
We'll see
it's
how it
all
is.
it's all really tough with Jedi Survivor. I feel like had it come out in a more polished state, I'd have like better impressions of it.
Right.
But It's just as simple as like, okay, if we're getting lost, add the same thing Star Wars Legacy has. Like, there's a literal, page of the field guide that comes out and shows you where to go. Just
Mhm.
have BD project a little blue line showing you where to go. Like, it's not
Yep.
rocket science. Just to help people
Yeah.
who maybe need a little help trying to like myself, trying to figure out, hey, where am I supposed to go? Where is scalable?
Yep.
Kind of thing
Yeah.
there. And I have a feeling like I kind of liked the singularity of the first level in
Mhm.
that there's little places to walk, there's a little place to explore, but it's not all the way out of the way to do
Mhm.
it. And I have a feeling from what I've heard is like the next levels that are coming up, and Craig, you probably know more about this than I do, they are much more open and much
Yes.
more of scale. So I have a feeling like I'm at the point where Kara jumps out of the ship of
Okay.
of of the next planet here. So it's like I know I'm gonna load into it and I'm gonna see what all this planet has, and I'm gonna be overwhelmed. Just because it's gonna be like I really wish like it
I
was just
don't.
maybe a little smaller. And maybe it's not as bad as I'm thinking it is.
No, it's not
Okay.
because I was feeling the same way. Like I don't want this like, all right, I can go 8 different directions. It's like you get out of the ship and it's like, all right, go this way. And then you might get to a point where it's like, all right, there's 2 ways I can go. I'm going to go left first. Okay, it was just a chest. All right, cool. Now I'm back on the main path.
Okay. Okay.
At its central core, like when you get to the central area of that first planet, there's like 3 ways you can go, and
Okay.
two of them
Okay.
are one of them's another chest, and another one is like that side boss, and then the
Mhm.
third one is where you're supposed to go. So it's not super
Okay.
overwhelming,
All right.
but I agree with you. Like these games, I want like linear. Like let me just go. Tell me where to go, and like focus me in on my path. That's all I need.
Perfect. Well, go ahead.
Oh no, I was
You,
gonna say I can't. I was gonna say I can't wait till we have a little bit more hours in
There we
there,
go. Okay.
mhm.
to see
Yeah.
what it's gonna show. Besides that, so
Perfect. Well, speaking of not overwhelming map sizes, I'll talk about Horizon Burning Shores.
Okay.
Uh, Horizon Burning Shore, a nicely priced $20 DLC for what it's worth. Overall, I finished it pretty much within 2 days. I just kind of marathoned it. It's more of what I love about Horizon. Um, Tracking, and it's pretty much Monster Hunter esque, where you're just tracking these gigantic monsters and these robotic gigantic monsters. Like there are these they're called bile guts. There are these gigantic frogs, and they are very agile. They jump
Okay.
around, they
I
jump
like
on you,
that.
they throw acid at you, and they're like these little fly bots is what I'm going to call them. They're very weak, but it's the little things where like this gigantic frog, if you watch it long enough, sticks out its tongue to grab one of the fly bots and swallows it whole. Like,
Okay.
it's the little details that I enjoy about this. Um, they kind of sneakily put in like an update with this game as well. Like the environments look a lot cleaner than I remember when I first started playing. The towns are more populated as well. There is an entire like 15-minute video from Digital Foundry about the sky, like the cloud technology, where because you can hop on a bird, you can fly into the clouds in this game and fly through them, and like there are breaks and stuff like that. It's kind of incredible from the video I watched. The story portion of things I kind of like because it's advancing Aloy as a character like herself instead of just continuing to plot more of this world-ending nemesis guy that's coming along. So,
Mm.
overall, Silas, played by Lance Reddick, who is now, rest in peace to him. I do wonder how they're going to go about the game next. I have an idea of what they're going to do, but he gives you the quest to go to the Burning Shores, and you can go right there. And it is a much smaller map than what the original Horizon Forbidden West map is. So it's really hard to get overwhelmed. There's one central area where you can kind of just explore and go how you please. The the story was entertaining enough. Like, it's nothing award winning in my eyes, but I like Aloy's character Seika, or Aloy's new companion Seika. She is kind of an I should probably get into this too. Like, this DLC is being review bombed for the fact that you know Who would have guessed it? Aloy is gay. Who would have thought? It's been theorized for a while, unless you've lived under a rock. Everybody's getting mad at it because she's gay, but like the thing is like you choose whether or not you want to like romance her or whether or not like you want that in your experience. So I don't get people review bombing it.
Because they
To
didn't
be
play
honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's caused Metacritic to now look at their entire like reviewing system because it's just people spreading a bunch of hateful stuff.
Yep.
And that there really is no place for that in video games. I do like that Horizon has taken a firm stance and said that they don't care that you don't like that Aloy's gay. They really don't. Like they're trying to tell a story and they're not going to diminish it in any way because people are mad about Aloy being gay. You can say no to Seika. Like that's it's very simple. You don't have to, you don't have to accept, her confession or anything like that. But other than that little bit of controversy with that with the game and review bombing, I like Seika. I think she's a good addition. I'm excited to see what she does in the third game. I also found out that the main villain is played by Sam Witwer.
Oh, cool.
He plays Darth Maul.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell who he was because he has this Burt Reynolds mustache going on, but his whole thing is that he leads kind of this very cultish program where he is brainwashing the people of Fleet's End, which is located, it's in the LA area. And they're about to take off, and he's going to go like kind of restart civilization how he wants to, with him being the god or king of it all. I kind of like Sam Witwer's character. It was pretty enjoyable. Overall, though, the story is pretty average. You're just kind of going, trying to save these people, find Seika's sister, save Seika's sister. The best points of the campaign for me, or the story mode, is the big bosses. Like a huge, apex stalker, long necks, tremor tusks. Like Horizon does a really good job of setting scale. Like you are a small human being against these gigantic mechanical monsters that you have to take down. And they do a good job of making you feel strong, but also letting you know that, hey, if you get hit 1 or 2 or 3 times and you don't heal, you're going to die from it. Yeah. So overall, I think for $20, this DLC is a steal. In my eyes, you get access to new weapons and better weapons a lot easier than in the base game, so you can take those new weapons and go into the base game and have probably an easier time with it as well. It's easy to get the weapons in Fleet's End, but you have to finish, of course, the Forbidden West storyline in order to get to Burning Shores. But the game, and I've said it last week, the game looks incredible. Horizon Forbidden West, and with Burning Shores, I think is one of the prettiest games I've ever played, if not the prettiest so far of the new console generation.
Okay.
All right.
I like it. I'm still not going to play it, but
yeah, I understand.
It's fine. I'll get caught up on the story with the little quick video when the third one comes out.
Yeah.
I'll be like, all right, I'm good to go.
Yeah. Greg, tell us about Advance Wars.
Yeah. Before I do Advance Wars, just real quick, Dead Island 2. I just wanted to check in real quick. So I played a bunch more this week. I think if I remember correctly, there's like 16 main missions. I think I've done like 10. So I think I'm, over halfway. There was a point this past week when I was playing where I was getting to the point where there's side missions, and I would look at it and be like, all right, this side mission's in Bel Air. I'm over here. I don't really want to have to run back and like take all this time running through a million zombies just to go do this side mission. And I was really like, I don't know, maybe am I at the point where like I've had enough of this game and I'm done? But just when that happened, like 1, I got quick travel and I was like, oh, thank God. And then 2, you start getting guns. And I was like, oh, this is like, just when like, in my opinion, when I was like starting to get a little tired of the melee combat, I was like, they're like, here, have some guns. And I was like, okay, perfect. Right at the right time. So like all that factors in, and then like the new areas, like the beach area is fantastic. I forget, Ocean Avenue is amazing and has the hotel inside with like a mall. So cool.
Awesome.
Every area is just so well done that like the new enemies that show up are enough to like, okay, this is a cool new enemy. And I'm consistently blown away with how good the people look in this game. Not just the
Yeah.
zombies, but like the people you're interact with. Like those in-engine cutscenes look fantastic. So yeah, like just when I thought I was like, I might be done with this game, which is probably good because there's a million other games to play, it just like sucked me back in. So now I'm like, all right, now I got to make time for that as well as Star Wars because I want to finish both. But it doesn't seem like Dead Island is like super long if you were to mainline the story. It's probably, I don't know, what, 10 to 15 maybe if you mainline the story. But yeah, so just quick check-in, still think it's great. And then Advance Wars, which I started playing this week. Holy cow, Barry, I love it.
Yeah, you do?
I
Good.
I love it. Didn't think I would because I was like, man, I haven't turned my Switch on in a while. And I don't know, it's just something about like the battles aren't extremely long, but like long enough, right? So like, and I also enjoy the idea of like, all right, I'm going to do this battle. All right, that didn't work out. I got defeated. And then let me go back and rethink. Maybe I don't need to just go head on at him. Maybe I can sneak around and capture his main base and beat him that way. And it's just like the thought process that goes in. And then like you're spending 5 minutes on your turn being like, okay, this person, his one can only hit on these squares. So I'm going to move down here. Like I've just been having a good time with it. I don't know how many missions there are in the first game because I still can't play the second game. I think I finished mission 14 today.
Okay, yeah,
I don't know how many there are. Yeah, I've been putting some time in. But yeah, so far, like I think it's great. I think it's simple enough when you start, and they do a good job of adding in a little bit at a time. Like, okay, here's a new unit, and this is what this does. All right, now here's another unit, and I enjoy when they don't just throw it all at you at once. Or I'm like, okay, now I got to figure out like, all right, what does this plane do as opposed to this type of tank, as opposed to this type of infantry? Like I enjoy that. It's like, all right, we're gonna start to infantry and tanks, do a couple missions. All right, here's the water based ones. Let's do those. All right, now we're gonna do planes. I just think it's super well paced, and the animation's pretty good actually. I was surprised. I mean, the characters are very anime style. They're when you do the power ups, it's oh my god, is it anime? It's so ridiculous.
Barry's like, yeah,
it definitely is. But yeah, I mean, it's given me a reason to play my Switch again, which is great. It's become like my daily, like, oh, I'm going to do like 2 or 3 missions today and kind of take my time with it. I don't have to, like, I don't feel the need to sit down and play this game for 5 hours, but a half hour here and there, it's like perfect. So yeah, been having a ton of fun.
Awesome.
Good. I'm glad. Like you probably, it sounds like you've got a better angle on what artillery can hit what at what space. Like a lot of the times I still find myself a bit confused. I'm slightly behind you in the mission wise and that kind of thing. But I absolutely agree. Like it is a fun game that you can pick up, complete 2 missions in about 30 minutes, and then go about your day.
Yeah.
Or go to sleep.
Yeah, that's what go to bed. That's what I've been doing.
But yeah, any other games anybody want to talk about?
Yeah, Dredge, play it.
Dredge.
Just play it.
Play it. Okay.
Play it.
Will I enjoy it if I don't normally like that type of game?
I think you will. So the combination, so the fishing mechanic, I'm not normally a fishing guy. I think I've openly on this platform said that I hate fishing mini games in other games.
Yeah.
But the fishing aspect of it, the mini game to actually do the fishing is not that hard. It's just a little bit of just timing kind of thing. Push this button at this time, kind of thing. So there's a Pokemon aspect to it where you do have to fill out a book that has a bunch of the different fish that you have. And I explained like the story. There's not really an incredible story. You're a fisherman who gets contracted. You get a boat that is loaned to you in this town, and you quickly pay that off. And then it's just about fishing. It's about fishing, turning stuff in, getting money, upgrading your boat. But the dark aspect about it is that at night, your fisherman does have you get chased by certain monsters at night. In addition, you may or may not go insane depending on how much lighting you have. So it's all about time management, time progresses as you're fishing. So if your boat is not moving, the clock does stay exactly where it is. But every move you make, whether it's turning it around, backing it up, or going forward, does take time off. So how late do you stay out to fish before you go back? I can honestly say I beat it in 12 to 15 hours. It is a $20 to $25 game, depending on what platform you buy it on. So just make your decision there. But it's addicting. Figuring out how much fish you can keep on your boat with a Resident Evil 4 style, or just a Resident Evil just in general style inventory is just as fun as you do in Resident Evil games. Deciding when to continue and when to go back, because it is not recommended to fish at night, as you'll find out, is good. And the story is just good enough to follow, where there's 4 different areas outside of the main, like, fishing. This is the town where I got the boat area, and each one has its own personality. So when you go up to one, you see something completely different. You catch different fish and see life that you do in the other area. So it's a nice, pleasant game, all ages above 12, maybe. I don't know. I would recommend playing it. You can catch weird fish as well. Every fish has its own aberration that you catch, which is a Simpsons three-eyed fish style version of the actual fish that you catch. So it's a nice, relaxing game for heavy gamers. I think that it will satisfy a certain style, because the art style is fantastic. And that's what initially attracted me to the game, to be honest with you. But if you want a different take on that, on fishing, I think you should pick it up. It's a nice indie. Definitely a nice indie.
I'll have to check it out.
I haven't played fishing games since, like, real bass fishing.
Real bass fishing.
Yeah.
Real bass fishing.
On, like, PS2.
What about Final Fantasy, whatever it was? You could fish in that.
Oh, 15. No, I didn't do any fishing in that. I didn't do VR fishing in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead into movies then this week. Movies and TV shows. The only thing I watched was Ghosted.
Hey, I watched that too.
On Apple TV.
All right.
I watched Ghosted, and then I started watching Citadel on Amazon Prime TV show.
Okay.
Oh, I can't wait to kind of hear your thoughts on that. I watched the new John Mulaney stand-up. I think it's called Baby Boy. And then I watched Scream 6.
Hey. Technically, I guess I could say I also watched John Mulaney, because that's the special he did when he came here, and I went and saw him. So,
oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Not the one recorded wasn't here, but that was the tour that he was on. So I did also see that just in person.
That's dope. I like that.
So, Ghosted. We'll talk about Ghosted first.
Yeah.
Ghosted is a romantic comedy action flick. Is that what we want to put it as, Craig?
It's Night and Day. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
With Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
It's
night spelled
thing.
Like night. Yeah.
Yep. Same thing.
Yeah, like, the main thing is the movie was enjoyable. I don't think it's anything spectacular to me. Again, there are a bunch of, like, because it's Chris Evans and it's made by Russo brothers write this or something like that. There's a bunch of Avengers characters in there that you'd be like, oh, look, it's the Winter Soldier.
Those cameos were hilarious.
Yeah. The particular cameos that they did there were pretty funny. I enjoyed it. Overall, like, I thought the action stuff was pretty cool. What confuses me about the movie is every time, like, these two fight more than any other, like, two characters I know in a movie, and they're attracted to each other, and they just say every time that they're fighting, it's sexual tension. That's their block out for it. Even though they're being genuinely mean to each other, they're all like, "Oh, it's sexual tension." It's like, if every couple fought like this, then the world's a weird place, is what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So, not that it isn't already, but, like, overall, I enjoyed, like, the time I had with that movie. I like Ana de Armas. I like Chris Evans. The more I continue to watch more of their movies, I just, gain a little bit more favor with me. I thought the villain plot was pretty cheesy, and, like, that was probably the funniest part that I liked about it. It's just, like, the villains are these super cheesy, give me the money, and they just keep failing no matter what they do. So, I don't know. I enjoyed that portion of things.
Anna was kind of hit or miss for me. Her acting in this was sometimes it was good, sometimes I was like, ooh. Um, it's funny to watch a movie where he's trying to act like he doesn't know how to fight. I'm like, you're
Yeah.
Captain America guy. You
You're
know what I mean? Like none of us are
gosh darn
buying
it.
that. Yeah, none of us are buying that you don't know how to fight. And there would be times like some of those action scenes, you could see some of the like there's Captain America, but he's trying so hard to not be that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think it's as bad as it's getting reviewed at, because it like
Yeah.
people hate this movie. Um, when it first came out, I was like, oh yeah, that movie came out. Let me check real quick. And like the first review I read was like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, what? You know, like that seems a
Wow.
little harsh.
Yeah. And it
It's
is.
not
Yeah.
terrible. It's something you're gonna watch once and totally forget about
Yep.
in a week, or less. But I didn't like despise my time with it. It was entertaining. Those cameos were great. I thought that was hilarious the way they did that. But yeah, it's fine. I wouldn't have seen it in theaters, so it
Yep.
being on Apple TV is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. 100%.
Okay. Citadel. The first 2 episodes are out on Amazon Prime right now. Just wanted to touch on it real quick. I can have a better idea once they're all out. Pretty generic plot for a TV show. It's kind of there's 2 spies. They get ambushed on a train, and he wakes up, and it's like months, and I think it's months or years, I don't remember, later, and he doesn't remember anything. That's
Mm.
like like Born Identity.
Yeah.
Every other, movie or TV show has done that. But overall, like, I am enjoying it so far. Priyanka, was that Joe Jonas's wife? I don't remember which Jonas she's married to. But she's pretty
Okay.
good in it. I don't know. My wife would know, but I don't know. Richard Madden, he's great as well. But yeah, I mean, so far I'm enjoying it. I think it's a good TV show where you don't really have to think too much. It has like that side plot of like, oh, there's
Yeah.
this. They're the Citadel is what these guys worked for, and there's another company that's going around and eliminating all of the Citadel agents except for these 2. But they both escaped. Uh, he doesn't know, he doesn't remember anything. She also escaped. I think it's enjoyable enough to watch. I don't think it's going to end up anywhere on like my top 10 for the year unless it kind of goes crazy. Stanley Tucci, I love Stanley Tucci, and he kind of plays like his
I agree.
not his assistant. He's like the technology guy. And I just love him to death. Like, he's so
He's awesome.
sarcastic. He gets to be super sarcastic in this show, and it's great. So yeah, check it out. Give it a shot. You can watch the first 2 episodes and decide if you care enough to check back in every week. I feel like it's been a while since we've had a decent Amazon Prime TV show. Probably The Boys would probably be the last
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So it's
Mhm.
nice to have a reason to go back into Amazon Prime every once in a
But
while.
and I actually can't remember if it's The Boys or if it was Rings of Power that was out first.
And yeah, I think Boys was first.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. Both of them, they
Yeah,
were around the same time, but yeah,
right.
that's you're absolutely right. Like I'll scroll through like Prime Video. The last thing I watched on there was the Shotgun Wedding
Yeah.
with Jennifer Lopez. So it's like
Mm-hmm. I feel
there's
the
not
same
much.
way.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about Netflix right now. Like, there's nothing on there. I
I
can't like.
keep
What's the
Yeah.
I keep getting told to watch the Night Agent. I think is what it is. I
okay?
think that's what I keep getting told to watch. Also, I think the Secretary or something like that
I
as
did start
well.
Yeah.
watching that. Yep.
There's like The Nurse that came out too. Like it's like a 3-part
I feel
series
it
that
just
about
doesn't feel like it used to be, where it was like every Friday Netflix was like, here's the thing, here's the thing, here's the thing, and it just, I feel like I spend more time on Paramount and Peacock right now.
yes.
You know?
Heck yes. And I don't see that going anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's
I'll throw.
actually the only thing that makes my Prime Video better is I have Peacock Plus, Paramount Plus through Prime.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be on Prime to get to the Paramount Plus series that I'm watching
Gotcha.
or the
There you
Paramount
go.
Plus movie. I know there's a separate app and I use it for other stuff, but like that's where I have it. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway,
Those are. Go ahead.
um, speaking of Paramount Plus, that is how I was able to see Scream 6, by the
Yes.
way. That's where it is streaming on Paramount Plus. That's a great flick. I don't know if you guys were as excited. I'm a Scream fan specifically. My wife elevated my Scream fandom. It was not my favorite scary series growing up, but I liked the it for what it was. But I was very interested to see how Scream 6 would transition into a New York City style, which is exactly what this was. It does not take place in Woodsboro. Two of the surviving sisters from last movie are actually in New York City trying to make their way and get on with their life after another string of gruesome deaths from the other one. I thought that they did this really well. Now, Craig, weren't you the one who initially reported on it? Did you see it in
I saw
theaters?
it in theaters. Yeah.
And you liked it, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's like the perfect, almost like a horror, a little bit of comedy,
Yeah.
and just playing with the horror tropes is what I enjoy.
Yeah, I liked it in the new setting. There's a specific portion that takes place in an apartment that I thought was actually fresh and new on trying not to die in your apartment via Ghostface. You know,
Yep.
like Scream is all about nice homes that Ghostface breaks into.
Yep.
Or like gets you to open a door so that he can get into, or some type of thing. There's a suburban style that you're usually kind of dealing with in Scream. This is like nice apartments, but apartments and like the New York City style. How can he get you down a New York City alleyway to kill you? As opposed to like, the ways that he has been. So we both enjoyed it. It's definitely something that I could watch in the next 6. I'll probably be watching it during our Halloween, one scary movie a night type of thing. It was good seeing the cast of characters there that were there. You had your Courtney Cox, but then you also had Hayden Panettiere. I always
Yep.
have to slow down to say her
Yeah.
name because of the syllables in her name. I like Hayden's character in this. I also like her revitalized movie career. If you haven't been paying attention to what's been going on in Hayden's personal life, so I liked her in this to kind of see her revitalized nature there. And the one woman I can't remember who was actually in Yellow Jackets now. I didn't even realize that I was going to like her in Yellow Jackets, but she also is one of the survivors that's in this one as well. So it's a good flick. There's the natural twists and turns that you would expect. I'm actually not naming somebody else like that. I just don't remember their name, but I also don't want to reveal more peak characters in there. Because the Scream is all about trying to figure out who the last person is who's doing all this. That's what it is. And I'll tell you, this one, my wife and I were wrong.
So was I. Yep. Didn't
we
get
were wrong.
it.
That's one of the first times I think in a Scream that I was wrong about one or more of the killers. Because I don't know, they help you allude to it usually in the movies, but this one they flat out kind of just took us the opposite way. So I would recommend watching it if you're paying for Paramount Plus, like a lot of us are. It's free, and I didn't even realize it's been 45 days since that movie came out.
Yep.
The good old 45 streaming rule, but it's there. So definitely recommend.
They're all on there, aren't they? Don't they have all the Scream movies right now? Yeah,
pretty much all of them. Yeah,
you could marathon through that if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you could scream for days.
End it now. End it.
So, but yeah. And then I guess John Mulaney. I don't know if we wanted to talk about that. There's really only one thing I want to say about it is it's a great stand-up for somebody who literally takes you from point A of their rehab to point Z. He's funny. He's natural John Mulaney funny. If you don't know John Mulaney's life, he has been in rehab. He's out of rehab now, clearly. But he had to go through that particular portion of his life being addicted to, I think it was pills, cocaine, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering where his stand-up was going to go. This is not a spoiler warning at all, but it literally is just the entire rehab process of him is just the entirety of the hour and 20-hour stand-up. And by golly, if I may say some swear words and say, by golly, he keeps you enamored and in it the whole time.
Yep.
The whole time. I love when a stand-up or any person can tell a story for an hour and you don't even know. That's Dave Chappelle does that well. That's like the most recent guy that I could say is the expert in the craft of storytelling while making you chuckle throughout the entire time.
I feel like Dane Cook used to be real good at it too.
Dane Cook used to be real good at it. Yeah, he used to be real good at it. Boy, that guy was popular back in the day.
Yeah, he was.
I recommend it, even if you're a fair weather fan of John Mulaney, or a mild fan, I guess is not a fair weather. That's like a sport term. But if you're just a minor fan of John Mulaney, watch it. It's a nice storytelling of somebody who's going through rehab, what they were thinking when they went through the initial, oh my God, what do you call it when everybody traps you, as they
intervention?
Say? The intervention.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
He takes you, I'll just say, it doesn't ruin anything. It's a famous guy getting an intervention. So there's name drops. It's a comedian getting an intervention. So there's name drops. So he makes it very funny. He doesn't hold any of those names back. He actually calls them out who he was, because 99.9% of people, I think, who get intervened are either taken aback or frustrated with the people who intervene. It's part of like being a dependency. So, but like, I obviously don't take that, not my word for it. But again, John Mulaney going through rehab from, the intervention to the end of his rehab, he basically explains it, and it's very funny. And Craig could definitely tell you being front row seat.
Yeah, it was great.
Perfect.
That's all I've watched.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. If you feel so inclined, please make sure to follow it. So, follow and share it with a friend that you think might enjoy it. We have a TikTok. Make sure to follow us and like and comment on the TikTok now. An Instagram, a Twitter, and a Twitch. Make sure to do all of that.
With the cool kids.
Yeah, and if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe and like the video and share it if you feel so inclined. We appreciate it. Again, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.